Hey guys, Matt Bishop here. We are at the Sands Event Center here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and I am here with the one and only Tyler Bates, guitarist for Marilyn Manson and renowned music composer. How's it going, man? Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here.
So has the tour been going so far? We'll start off with that. That's the big thing right now.
It's been fantastic. You know, one of my goals coming into it was to make sure that the band and Manson were clicking right from show one, and I think we're hitting pretty good. So every show's better than the previous one, and they've all been really, really good. High energy. Manson's been fantastic.
You had a lot to do with this record. You linked up with Manson, and you guys wrote this thing together, and you, of course, produced it. What was it like, you know, coming into the fold with this project and, you know, really taking on so much of it?
Well, to be honest with you, the way Manson and I got together was we met casually through the show Californication. I did the music with a friend of mine, and actually Manson played himself in one season of the show. That season culminated in a concert that was being filmed at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles. And though it wasn't featuring him, he wanted to perform that night, and so we had a rehearsal and we got to know each other a little bit, and it was after we played a couple of shows of that nature that we figured, you know, we have some chemistry. We started talking, and after about another year or so, we had another conversation about getting together, and we did then, and we started playing around with the idea of making some music, but more in the sense of a conversation and music, not about let's get together and make the record. You know, he did mention that at first, and I said, no, let's just make some music. Let's consider this just a dialogue. And one thing led to the next, and ultimately it did become a record, but it was without the pressure of all of the people who work with him or a record company or anybody even knowing about it. So we just made music that we really liked, and my objective was to bring out Marilyn Manson as he is today, not a replication of who he was when he made Beautiful People and Dope Show and other things in the past, which are all fantastic. But, you know, he's in a different place in his life, you know, and we wanted to have this particular volume of music reflect exactly that.
Well, when I listen to the album, there's definitely a different feel to it. And I think you guys, you know, whether it sounds like that was your goal to kind of, you know, who is Marilyn Manson now? I think you guys nailed it. It's a bit more subtle. It's a little bluesier, I think. A lot of the grooves are really, you know, in the pocket, and they're not so abrasive, and I think it's fantastic. I enjoy it. I think it's great.
Well, thanks. Yeah, you know, these songs were written primarily together in my studio on the spot, and it was through conversation, not about music, but about other things, that I would basically snatch something, you know, out of the air and start working on something, sort of sleight of hand while he's talking, and before you knew it, there was something going on. I'd be like, hey man, come on, let's hit this. And so we were set up with his mic here, and I was here, headphones, and I would play at the same time he would sing, and we'd start working out the idea and build on it from there. And it was really a lot of fun. It was not, you know, it was not like someone writing a stack of tracks for him to sift through and decide what he wants to do, and then go into a typical studio, be in a booth, record the song 100 times, have someone cut it together and make a song of it. And I'm not suggesting that's how he did all his music, but that's the way a lot of people are doing music nowadays. And it's very impersonal. And there are a lot of people in a control room talking when you're in the booth, just in between takes, you know, wondering what the hell they're saying, and let's get it going. So sitting next to me, you know, just by the nature of how I work in film composition, I keep it going, you know, especially, you know, I oftentimes have a room with directors and producers and other people with ideas and thoughts and whatever in there, and I have to make things happen rather quickly. So this made the actual process pretty much invisible to Manson. So it was all about music. It was all about just getting that thought and that idea out without ever thinking about the studio or the technology or any of that aspect. So it made it a lot more fun for him and for me as well. We had a great time doing it. But yeah, the true objective is like where is the next 10 years for Manson to go? And he wanted to explore this bluesier side. You know, he does love Jim Morrison, Iggy Pop, Tom Waits. And we love, you know, The Cure and the Pixies and a bunch of other bands in common. But that's what it was about. You know, he wanted to feel that a little bit more. And then there's, just from getting to know him, I knew there was a whole other dimension to his voice that hasn't been present very often in his music up to this point. And I thought, you know, man, if you really give in and sing from your heart, give us more of your soul, I think people would find that interesting and compelling. So I orchestrated the music so that it created space for him to sing out a little bit more and leave a little more space around his voice for the full body of his voice to be exposed. So, you know, it's just production and arrangement concepts, but you know, it was cool, and we love it.
Very cool. What was it like for you? I'm obviously, a lot of people are familiar with, you know, your work in TVs and film, and obviously video games as well, doing scores and that sort of thing. But was this your first time, you know, fully taking on a contemporary, you know, mainstream music project as a producer?
Oh, probably one that ultimately is as visible as this. You know, I do records with other people or recordings with other people, and I've made a number of records in my life, and some of them have at least made a blip on the commercial scene, but this is probably the most monumental of its sort. And to be honest with you, it was driven only by the fact that I thought that I could help Manson find that next place that he wanted to be with his music. And we had a great, interesting chemistry between the two of us. We thought that, you know, we'd complement each other really well. While I completely respect his entire body of work and all he's accomplished. And I am cultured in all industrial music and metal and whatever else you want to call it that might apply to him. I'm not somebody who's a super fan and knows every song, you know. I've definitely played Coma White way more than I've ever heard it in my life. Which is a great song. I love that song. But yeah, so anyway, I was coming at it at a perspective just thinking about this person that I met and trying to figure out, you know, in a very natural way, what's going to be a great way to reinvigorate him about his own body of work, about his own recording career, because I think recording has become a real labor for him over time. As much as he loves music and as much as he's chock full of ideas, I think it became a daunting task. So I always wanted to make the idea of doing a record, you know, just completely absent from the studio. It was more like, yeah, you know, it's you and me. We're enjoying the moment. We're making music we want to hear. And because of that, I think it made him feel more comfortable opening up and exploring a different side of himself. So yeah, that was cool.
Well, I definitely think that makes for a better music making process when you just kind of do it organically and let it flow.
Yeah.
And I think when bands start to make a schedule, like, okay, this day we're going to go in and write, and we have to be done writing in 3 weeks because then we hit the studio to record, and it's like, well, but what if you're not done? Yeah. What if you want to do some more stuff? Like, it's so scheduled, I feel, and that's when you kind of lose that organicness about it, and you lose the feel.
Yeah, well, you know, what was fantastic is we got together for, you know, just kind of a general hang and talk about things, you know, talking about music we each loved, and maybe, you know, that bluesier, swampier direction he was interested in pursuing. And so the following session, which was a couple days later, you know, it was about an hour before he was showing up, and the song "Birds of Hell Awaiting" came to my head. And most of the writing I do is in my head, and then I transcribe it on guitar or for orchestra or whatever. So I laid it down quickly and I sent it to him. I emailed it to him while he was on his way to the studio, and it was still daylight out when he came in. He's like, "Tyler Bates." He always talks in a southern drawl and always calls me Tyler Bates. It was like, "Tyler Bates, can we record something right now?" I'm like, "Sure, man." I said, "There you are. There's your microphone. So let's go." So he laid down 2 passes of that. We kept the first one as what's the album version. And then obviously I did a lot of handiwork with the song after that. But we were so excited by the sort of this combustibility of our energies together. And it was together. I mean, it was not, you know, we don't have a combative relationship. It's interesting, but you know, when you get really excited about something and you just want to do more, that's what it was. The songs for the record were written over a brief period of time, and then there was obviously time that was spent after with the real production work. But the recordings done in those initial sessions are on the album, whether it's vocals, guitar, whatever. If you were to isolate the tracks on the record, you'll hear bass or guitar bleeding into his microphone and him bleeding into mine, and we wanted to harness some moment that happened without overthinking things, because I think both of us have a little bit of a disdain for the overproduction of music now. Even if it sounds lo-fi, it's lo-fied after the fact a lot of the times, and it seems a little contrived. Not everybody, but just a lot of stuff just sounds like product. So with this, we were just excited to work on the music, and you know, I was busy working on things during the day, so I couldn't sustain a 12-hour day, then like an hour for dinner, and then Manson comes over at 8:30, and then it's 2:30, and it's like, dude, we gotta stop. I gotta get up at 6:30. So we did that about 3 times a week over the course of 3 months, and it was really more about wanting to get back and do the next one and the next one, because we were excited, just like when you're a kid and you're excited about something. So that whole daunting, laborious schedule of, okay, it's got to be done by this time, you know, there was never any of that. It was always like, let's see what we do, and if it becomes a body of work that you deem an album, then so be it. And if not, you know, it's cool too. You know, my main objective was to help sort of unlock or open a couple of new portals for expression for him, and I had, you know, fun doing it. You know, it was a two-way street, though. You know, it was something I needed at the time as well, because I can't be fully satisfied living behind a keyboard typing out scores for orchestras, you know, because I don't usually play a lot of the music I write because it's for orchestra. So it was great, because guitar is, you know, how I identify with myself as a musician. It's always been my life. So it was great for me too to get back to it in that way, where it was a daily thing that I was working on. So
what has the experience been like for you, you know, coming into the band and on tour, playing these songs live and really getting to bring them to life?
It's fun. It's interesting, you know. I mean, they're taking on a life of their own in the live setting, which is great, you know, because, you know, Manson and I made the record, so essentially I played everything just because that's what was necessary at the time. Then our live drummer, Gil Sharon, came in and played drums after the fact, and he's amazing. So that was great. And Manson asked if I would play live, and I was just like, you know, I'm not sure I could do it, you know, because of my other career obligations. But then, you know, we really talked it through, and I thought about it, and I'm like, you know, I always fly without a net anyway, you know, beneath me. We got to go out and do this and make a great band and play the music as well as it can be played live. So Twiggy was amazing even from the get-go. Just embraced the songs, has taken them and made them his own on bass. Sounds great. He and Gil are great together, and the plan was to do this only if we're going to have a great band and it's going to kick some ass. And Manson's risen to the occasion for sure. I think he's performing at a level that's definitely elevated, and the band's tight, and we're having fun, and we love hanging out together. We love playing music together, so it's great. You know, I'm really, really happy to be part of it.
Moving forward for you personally, you had a big year in 2014. Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack was incredible, and you worked on some Californication. But what do you have lined up going into the new year and the coming years, perhaps?
Well, we're gonna see where all this goes. It looks like the Pale Emperor record is doing well, and it seems to be opening more doors for Manson, which is fantastic. You know, the reception's been very, very good, and
I think it was #8 on Billboard, debuted this week on the top 200. Congrats on that.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's sold quite a bit. So we're thrilled about that. Deep Six became a pretty solid hit at rock radio, and we're getting, you know, licenses for songs and stuff. So people are really into it. And, you know, the fans have embraced it, which is great, because I kind of anticipated, you know, being villainized a little bit, being the guy responsible for you know, changing it up a little bit. But, you know, it's really, if you're a fan of Manson, it's about being happy for him and understanding he's an artist who has an entire lifetime of art to pursue, and so that requires change. I have a show I do called Salem, which the title sequence is an excerpt from Cupid Carries a Gun from the record. That was a total accident. You know, I was working on the show, they wanted me to write the title sequence, and they sent it to me, and I watched it, and I'm like, oh man, Manson and I wrote the perfect song for this 2 weeks ago. So I slugged that in and showed it to the showrunner, and he listened to it. I didn't tell him what it was. And obviously the song was not released yet. We hadn't even mixed the record or anything. And he's listening. He's like, this is perfect. And I wasn't trying to get the song in as the titles. I was just giving him vibe. You know, I'm like, this vibe feels pretty good, right? He says, shit, is that Marilyn Manson? I said, yeah. And he says, then he used a heavier expletive about that one. He's like, oh. I'm like, what? And he says, we could never get that. And I'm like, maybe we can. Hang on a second.
Phone call.
Said maybe we can, you know. So, you know, Fox worked out a deal, and it's, I think, only the second song they've ever licensed for a main title sequence. So I was really thrilled to see that happen. So that was the beginning of some real momentum for us. And then took a little while to get all the business with the record companies tidied up, so the album release came a bit later than that song appeared, but that was great. So I do Salem. That show's striking up again pretty soon, and of course I'll be working on that, and even when I'm out on the road I have a studio with me. So, you know, this is a change for me, being on the road again. It's pretty boring between playing shows, you know, a lot of waiting, a lot of driving, a lot of hotel rooms. So, you know, I need stuff to do. So that's great. And then another show I do called Kingdom, which is going into its second season. That'll strike up again when we have a break. So I'll get rolling on that. And then the film stuff, you know, it's largely contingent upon what the opportunities are there. Yes, I was, you know, really thrilled with the success of Guardians of the Galaxy last year. For me, it's my first #1 movie of the year, so that was a big deal, you know. And there will be another one of those in the not too distant future, and you know, when the time is right, I'll just begin writing. Like on that one, I started writing before filming and during production, and they shot to a lot of the music, which was very cool. And you know, we'll see what else is going on. I basically have kind of taken things down a little bit for a minute so I could do this. So I just want to rock.
Sounds good. Well, I'm excited to rock tonight, man. I'll be in the photo pit. It's going to be a good time. I'm pretty stoked.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely.
I greatly appreciate it. Tyler Bates, ladies and gentlemen, the new album from Marilyn Manson and Mr. Bates, The Pale Emperor, is out now via Hell, Etc. and Cooking Vinyl. You can pick up a copy right now. Just debuted at #8 on Billboard, as we said. Huge album for these guys. The tour is going on right now. The Hell Not Hallelujah tour tickets are on sale, so be sure to check out all the online outlets for that, and tylerbates.com to keep up with Tyler. New music coming in the near future. A lot of shows working on. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and possibly some more stuff.
Yes,
so
sir.
we're out of here.